Happy Saturday, runners. Saturday, July 18th here in Phoenix. It is 9:29 a.m. on a very, very hot weekend indeed. Our normal highs here in Phoenix for this time of the year is about 105, 106. We will be reaching 115 to 116 today and possibly 117 tomorrow. Ouch, that is hot. I've lived here in Arizona for a vast majority of my life, and in Phoenix I've lived here for 25 years. That's a long time to deal with the heat. You think I'd be used to it, however, you never really get used to summers. You tolerate it, I think, as best as possible. I used to be able to run in the heat years ago, like at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Why? Yeah, that's a great question. At times I will still do that, like a second run, but that's very rare. I just prefer not to do it. I'm an early riser, so that suits me best. But anyways, let's begin. Kind of like go over how my week went, pull up my training here up on top. I took this week as a cutback week, and I also excluded speed run or speed workout. Just want to give myself a little bit of a break. Not that I'm like feeling bad or anything. Overall, I feel really good. In fact, today's run marks the 22nd day of running, which for some may be a lot, and for others, not so much. For me, however, I've never really had a running streak, and I don't really necessarily call this a running streak, although it is in my head now that I know I've done 22 days straight of running. What constitutes a streak? I believe it's a mile a day. And some days, like on Friday, I did a 1.5 miles. I'll tell you about that run in a little bit. But for the most part, I'm doing anywhere from 3 to 4 miles. A couple days a week, I'll do like 4 to 5. And the long days, like on Saturday, it's 7 to 9. Although, depending on how I feel, I might be closer to that 7-mile mark. For the time being on the long runs. So yeah, been running every day for just over 3 weeks, feeling pretty good. This week I started off Monday with a nice 3-mile run, nothing crazy. Most of my runs are like easy to recovery runs, although sometimes I do get a little impatient, and I know I go against the grain of what I say at times. And I go a little quicker than I should, but for the most part, I am staying within my own guidelines of running easy and really paying attention to how it feels. I also look at my watch for my heart rate, but more importantly, I check my carotid when I run. You might ask, why do I do that instead of wearing a heart rate strap? I used to wear a heart rate strap, which is very accurate, more so than I believe that the optical heart rate on the wrist is. It's just a little uncomfortable, and in all honesty, I get the data that I need just simply by taking my 2 fingers and put on my carotid, counting for 10 seconds, multiplying by 6 to give me my heart rate approximate for a minute. And then I bump it up against the watch, and usually, I say usually, I'm gonna say 90%, 85% of the times, they match up pretty close, maybe within 3 to 6 or 7 beats apart, which for me, that's close enough. It may seem like a lot of work, seem like it'd be hard to, take your pulse, look at your watch, but I am okay with that. It doesn't bother me. I feel like, I'm in control, and it helps me be able to know where I'm at running. And sometimes I want to know, am I running too hard? Am I running too easy? And that just lets me know where I'm at. So again, as I mentioned on Tuesday, I didn't have a speed workout, which I normally do. I did 4 miles, felt good. And then Wednesday, I did 5 miles. That day was pretty rough. I believe that was a hot day in the morning. That might have been, let's see up here. It was, yes, my first run in 90 degrees for the summer. That was Wednesday the 8th. Then Thursday came, and I did just a nice 3.2 mile run. Still feeling pretty good. I've been doing my exercises for the knee, for my back. You know, I see a chiropractor every now and then, get adjustments and just kind of work on areas that are a little bit tight and sore. So I get really good advice and homework to do, which I don't mind. And I've been doing that pretty much religiously when I wake up, before my run, after my run, and then I'll do it in the afternoons, sometimes at work. There's a little room in the office there that I can go to, and just, you know, a couple minutes, that's all. Anything to just keep myself feeling better. So here's the interesting story. So Friday morning, I was only planning on doing 1 to 2 miles, and I did 1.5. Thursday evening, before we went to bed, our AC went out. It was still blowing air, but it was blowing hot air. So I went outside, and the outside, we have our AC unit outside, and it was spinning, or not, I'm sorry, the fan wasn't spinning. So I kind of went online, looked at YouTube to kind of see, you know, what the issue might be, since I'm no way a handyman, especially when it comes to HVAC, air conditioning. So made some calls to see if we can get somebody out. Here in Phoenix, this is quite the norm where there's a lot of issues with AC. So I couldn't get anyone to come out really until the morning. However, one of the air conditioning guys said, and he gave me a tip, and he said, don't say anything to anyone that I told you this, but you can actually take like a long screwdriver and kind of go in between the vents where the fan is just below it, and give it a nice little kind of kick start, and the fan should start to spin, and then it'll spin quickly, and you'll get cold air. And sure enough, I say about 10:15 in the evening when this all took place, I did that, and it was starting to run. The house was 91 degrees, or was it 90? About 90 degrees. It took a while to drop even to 88. Went to bed. We had ice packs to try to stay cool while the AC was running, and that lasted for a couple hours or so. At like 1:30, AC is dead again. So I didn't want to blow the compressor, so I shut off the thermostat and went outside. Of course, the fan wasn't spinning. So I'd called in the morning, and fortunately we got it taken care of by mid-morning, and as of now the AC is running well. We don't keep our AC too low like most folks. I think that's good for us. It helps preserve the unit, just enough to stay cool though, of course. So that morning on Friday, I was exhausted. My wife and I were just tired. I think we probably got 4 hours sleep with 2 hours on, and a little bit off, and another 2 hours. So fortunately, it was Friday. Made for a little bit of a long day at work, but got over it. So knock on wood. And then today, 7 miles is what I had planned. I was real close to not finishing 7 miles, to be honest with you. Right about the 5.29 mark is where I had stopped to catch my breath a little bit. I started out the run. The first 3 miles of it was nice, anywhere flat to a little bit of a downhill. And my target today was to be like 9:10, 9:15. And I was just under 24 miles, I believe it was around, that doesn't sound right. I want to say 34 miles. Around 34 miles. You know what? That doesn't sound right either. My brain is fried right now. I know that I was about 9:02 pace after about 3.5 miles. So, you know, that was actually pretty good for me. But in the back of my mind, I knew that I had a little bit of a climb in certain areas coming back. And of course, that's on the latter half of my run. So I knew that I would probably struggle a little bit. And I did. You know, it was 91 degrees at the sign just under a mile from our house. And it was 5:40 a.m. So it was just shortly after sunrise or so. So pushed through, felt great at the end for finishing, exhausted. I sat down in the corner there in the front yard for just a minute to catch my breath. But then I went out. We have a little community pool in our neighborhood, literally like a 1-minute walk, and just went in there just before 7 a.m. and I just felt refreshed. The water, I wouldn't say it was like ice cold, definitely not. When we have 110, 112 degrees, the water in the morning, when the outside temperature is 90, 93 degrees, it's going to be a little warmer, but it actually felt pretty good. I mean, if we get out to our pool this time of the year before 9 o'clock, it doesn't feel too bad, but anytime after 9, 10, 11, it's just like a warm bath. So that was my week. You know, overall, it was a good week to do a cutback. I'm at 23.9 miles. I'll probably get 2 miles, maybe 3 tomorrow on the trail. And then, of course, get some walking in as well. So I'll probably get close to 27, which that's good for me. I've been averaging about 30, 32 for my weekly mileage. As mentioned before, that's pretty good for me because I'm typically maybe 15 to 20 miles a week. I'm not really training for anything. You know, I was originally going to do a race at the end of July, but I believe that was canceled because we've got pretty big issues here in Arizona with our COVID cases. There are just very limited activities, some very small gatherings of local races, if that. But I'm not planning on doing anything, nor can I really at the end of this month. August, I was thinking about doing a race in mid-August, but I don't know if that's going to happen, to be honest with you. If it's still on, I'm not going to do it. The next race, really, that we have on the calendar would be Carlsbad 5000. So it's a 5K out in Carlsbad. It's a pretty popular race. A lot of professionals go out there. There's prize money involved. I know, why travel, you know, 6 hours, 7 hours by car to run a 5K? It's something that we've thought about last couple of years. We usually watch it on TV. Nice way to kind of get away from the heat in September and watch some pros race while we get to do a 5K. It's pretty competitive too. So I emailed the folks over at Carlsbad at the beginning of the week and was just asking them you know, how the situation is out there and any word if the race is going to be canceled. They said stay tuned. For the next couple weeks, they will be releasing some information. My gut says they will scratch this race because originally this race was scheduled for, I want to say it was either April. Yeah, I think it was an April race. So they pushed it back to September. But as you guys know, the U.S. is not doing well with COVID, and we are trying to nip this as quickly as possible. So That means some sacrifices have to be made in terms of not having large gatherings and races, which I'm fine with. We're all ready as runners to get out there, but not at the cost of contracting COVID and getting sick and possibly dying from it. So I'm okay with things being pushed back a little bit, but I cannot wait until we are all back out there running as a community, racing, just doing what we love. So that's it, guys. I hope you're having a good start to your weekend and hope you have a great weekend. Be safe out there, enjoy your runs, and definitely stay hydrated. We will. It should be fun tomorrow. I will take it easy on the trails and I'll definitely stay hydrated. But the hard work for the week is over and now I can just relax. Have a great weekend, guys. Take care.